Valve just dropped the official response to the big New York Attorney General lawsuit filed last month. That lawsuit regarding loot boxes, or as Valve calls them, mystery boxes, like crates, cases, chests in games like CS2, Dota 2 and Team Fortress 2. So the first very unusual and interesting thing is that Valve rarely comments on lawsuits, but this time they went public and explained everything. This is what the official response looks like, and it consists of 4 key points. So let's go through each one of them one by one and see what they're about and what Valve thinks about them. They begin directly addressing New York customers, saying, "We rarely talk about litigation, but we felt we should explain the situation to you." And trust me, after we go through this response, you will see why they decided to go public with it. So, the first moment. We shared with the NYAG that these types of boxes in our games are widely used, not just in video games, but in the tangible world as well, where generations have grown up opening baseball card packs and blind boxes and bags, and then trading and selling the items they receive. And they compare their boxes to other physical popular products such as Pokemon, Magic the Gathering and Labubu, and then they share their opinion on this. Players don't have to open mystery boxes to play Valve games. In fact, most of you don't open any boxes at all and just play the games, because the items in the boxes are purely cosmetic. There is no disadvantage to a player not spending money. So this one is basically what everyone been talking about and discussing since the day they heard about the lawsuit. It's not pay to win, it doesn't give any advantage to players who gather these items, it's just a digital collectible basically. And if the idea is the same as, for example, Pokemon cards, but just in digital world, why are they going only after Steam? The second point is more interesting because Steam kinda starts to show their position in here. In the process of cooperating with NYAG's investigation, we shared with them our efforts over many years to shut down accounts found to be using Valve game items on gambling sites in violation of the Steam subscriber agreement. Then they added, to date, we've logged over 1 million Steam accounts that were being misused by third parties. We've also shipped features like trade reversal and trade cooldown to discourage gambling sites' ability to operate and protect Steam users from fraud. And we forbid any gambling-related business to participate in or sponsor tournaments for our games. So not only that they don't encourage it, they actually actively fight it, which means they're not profiting from it. On the other hand, they probably lose money to deal with these side effects, which makes you assume that this point in the lawsuit actually doesn't make sense at all. What I think is that probably the Attorney General was not aware of Steam already dealing with these third parties. And as they said, in the process of cooperating with NYAG's investigation, they revealed this information, which made this point irrelevant. But of course, it's only my assumptions how it went. The next 2 keys in this lawsuit that Valve replied to are the most interesting, with the third being the NYAG seems to believe boxes and their contents should not be transferable, and they propose to take away users' ability to transfer their digital items from Valve games, which Valve replied to with, "Transferability is a right we believe should not be taken away, and we refuse to do that." And this one is kind of tied to the first point where they assume that this digital cases is different from tangible items like baseball cards. Valve also add, "We think the transferability of a digital game item is good for consumers. It gives a user the ability to sell or trade an old or unwanted item for something else, in the same way an owner can sell or trade a tangible item like a Pokemon or a baseball card." So here Valve basically shows that they care about players' ownership. They believe that the ability to transfer items actually helps the consumers. And this is where most of the other companies would fumble and say, "Fine, we will simply remove trading just to settle." And Valve just took a stand and said, "No, this is not right for our consumers, and we will not do that." Some people have very large item collections, not just 1 or 2 items. And now the most juiciest part in this response. I personally believe, and this is only my assumption, that this whole response and this whole thing going public for Valve was to point and hit at this moment. Like, they don't say it directly, but it seems like a pinnacle of this whole conversation. Fourth, the NYAG also proposed to gather additional information beyond what we normally collect in the course of processing payments about each game user on the off chance someone in New York was anonymizing their location to appear outside of New York. This would have involved implementing invasive technologies for every user worldwide. Similarly, the NYAG demanded that Valve collect more personal data about our users to do additional age verification, even though most payment methods used by New York Steam users already have age verification built in mean? And they responded with, Valve knows our users care about the security of their personal information, and we believe it's in our and their interest to only collect the information necessary to operate the business and comply with law. There are already payment methods, like for example when you use a bank card, and they say for every user worldwide, not only New York. This is where Valve is drawing the line here, where people trust them with their wallets and accounts. Note that this is not one of the points of the lawsuit. This is a proposed settlement, which means if Valve complies with everything else, they have to follow this one as well. And as a kinda conclusion to this whole statement, Valve said, it may have been easier and cheaper for Valve to make a deal with the NYAG, but we believe the type of deal that would satisfy the NYAG would have been bad for users and other game developers and impacted our ability to innovate in game design. As I already said, where other companies would say fine and comply, Valve decided to take a more difficult and more expensive path to fight for its consumers. And if this doesn't make you respect Valve, I don't know what will. So after going through this whole response, here's what I think. Whether you like or hate mystery boxes, you cannot deny the fact that Valve still thinks of its consumers as people, not as product. And nowadays, this is extremely rare. And knowing that Valve isn't just some vulnerable startup, they actually cash rich, private, and have a track record of fighting regulators, it looks very strong for them. And this message doesn't look like they are showing their weakness. It's more like they're drawing their line publicly and showing where they stand. And be honest, you cannot not respect this. What do you guys think? Do you think Valve is gonna win this? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this video at least helped you to understand why everybody's writing with Gaben so hard, drop a like and see you in the next one.